Welcome. My name's Arjuna, and I'm looking today at a presentation I called to Music, a personal reflection of how music has supported my spiritual path. The main focus is in 3 sections: early influences, silence before song, and when I was asked to sing, when music became part of my dharma. I've always loved music, right from earliest childhood. It gave me sanctuary, solace, inspiration, and openness to greater love. Music has always been a major support throughout my life, especially during the most challenging times. Music is an enormous gift, and it gives me the ability to share what I feel of sacred space, inmost feelings. It helps me to express something that is most true to me, and I get to do that through music, or just in listening. I find music uplifting, inspiring, soothing, and healing. Early influences. One of my most early influences was my father's love of music. He loved classical music. He loved opera. Early on, I came to contact with devotional music. I was raised in a church, and in that church we had hymns on Sunday. And one of the hymns that really spoke to me was one, "Firmly I believe and truly." And it touched something in me. It was this devotion that was awakened in me that I loved. I loved the ideas of the higher order of the cosmos and the love that is present for us here on planet Earth. I also loved folk music, and I got to listen to 3 hours of it every Sunday afternoon on FM radio. Back when I was very young, Disneyland put out a 2-part series on Beethoven, and I recorded that on my cassette recorder, and I listened to it every day for many, many years. There was something about Beethoven that just soothed me, inspired me, carried me along. I loved Beethoven. As I went into teenage years, I discovered Gregorian chants. I spent quite a long time listening to requiems. There was something in a requiem that was deeper than the popular music on the radio. I just came to love requiems and the solace and the devotion and the aspiration within that music. I also enjoyed celebration music such as Handel's Messiah. I listened to Handel's Messiah at least once a year. By the time I was 17, John Lennon's album Imagine came out, and that gave me a sense that the collective consciousness was awakening. It really inspired me that other people too were on to this Aquarian idea of the common good. Other musicians who inspired me introduced me to the highs and lows of the human condition. Artists like Cat Stevens and Melanie Safka and Edith Piaf, Billie Holiday, Janis Joplin, Jacques Brel, Joe Cocker, and bands like Pink Floyd. Section 2, Silence Before Song. There was a period when I was quite young, around 23, when I had a nervous breakdown and went to live in a small part of a shed of a friend, one of the art teachers. And he lent me a record player and a record called Astral Weeks by Van Morrison. There was something about Van Morrison's music and that album which took me into bliss, and I lived in bliss. I left society. I let go of most of my childhood programming and all the pressures of society. And I just went into being one with nature, gardening, learning how to plant vegetables, and celebrate watching the sun pass overhead each day. After a period, I went walkabout. I spent some years alone. I lived in a cottage in the forest, and I just listened to the sounds of nature. I listened to the wind and the birds calling, going about their day. I just listened. I listened to the water when it fell or when it went past in the rivers. I took refuge in silence. I also discovered Zen. And in Zen, I learned how to sit quietly and just observe. I also heard the shakuhachi flute of the Zen monks. I felt that I could be at one with spirit as I listened to the shakuhachi or the silence. It was temple music. It was connection with ancient and deep aspects of being. It also spoke very much to my sense of alienation and aloneness. Around that time, I also went for a trek in Nepal for 5 weeks and just allowed my thoughts to flow, allowed every thought that was in my being to simply flow, simply inform me of what was inside me that perhaps had been suppressed for too long. Back in the cottage, I found a connection with the Native American spirit. The pipes in the wall of my shower were loose, and whenever I would have a shower, the pipes would bash against the wall. And they bashed in a way, in a rhythm, that somehow triggered my connection to the Native American spirit, to the connection to land and wholeness. I began to express myself personally in music. I had a very inexpensive guitar, and I found a songbook of Bob Marley songs, and I played them. I also heard Pete Seeger from the Weavers singing Wimoweh, and the way Pete threw his head back and allowed his full voice to come into being. I was also inspired watching Woodstock, Richie Havens singing with all his passion, singing freedom and motherless child. Called to music. This is the beginning of my story of how I was called to music, to make music part of my service in the world, part of my expression, part of my connecting to my spirit. And this happened one day. It was a very hot day, driving to Melbourne. I had a very old car. It didn't have air conditioning, so I had the window wound down. And I felt a beam of light come directly from the sun into myself. And within this beam of light, there was an inner voice, a very clear voice, that said, "Would you play for me?" And I believed that voice to be of Maitreya, the future Buddha of Earth. And my first response was a sense of frustration of how would I ever find more time to be of more service to do any more activities in this world because I was very busy at the time, working 7 days a week. But very soon I was singing in many different ways. I had met my partner at the time, Arjuna Govinda, and I've been very, very much in a support role with her, volunteering all my time, all my money, commitment, travel, whatever it took. I was often overstretched because I'd spent at least 6 years living as a hermit, and suddenly I was in constant activity with Tarajodi. So I started to sing, a little bit reluctantly, but it just started to come naturally. Tarajodi and I travelled a lot and did workshops. I started to put on some recorded music, a song by Lionel Richie, Love, Oh Love. And I would encourage other people to sing along while I sang. And during that I opened myself more to allowing myself to express myself in music. We did travel to Denmark and we did workshops over there, and I was quite shy at the time, but gradually my confidence built with the music. And on the last day before we left Denmark to return to Australia, I put on the song Love, Oh Love, and I sang with all my heart, and I dedicated it to all the shy people in the room and in the world, that we might take our light from under the bushel to shine our light and to be who we are and the best we could be in this world. And that was my time for coming out. Back home, I volunteered to join the audio team, and during the microphone checks, I began to sort of or hum or even sing a little bit, and one of the band members encouraged me to do more of that. Tarajodi went overseas again for 2 months with the work, and I stayed at home. And during those 2 months, I took one of the songs with 3 chords, and I practiced every day. The song was Om Guru Deva, and when Tara returned, she volunteered me to sing it in public. This went very well, and then she volunteered me to sing a second song 1 week later in church itself. Tarajodi asked me to write music to her lyrics, and I was very resistant. I was concerned that I could only write folk music. I hadn't tried writing music before, so I put it off for a while. But eventually I found it within me to write some simple chords to her lyrics. In the beginning, she wrote a couple of angel lyrics, and I found music for them. It cheered me up to sort of feel how the song was an invocation, how making music invoked good vibrations, good energies, healing, prayer, things that felt important to me.
Let love be the reason, love guide the seasons, open your heart open your heart to the light.
Tara had this great enthusiasm, and everywhere we went she volunteered that we could sing. If we were at friends' houses for dinner or an afternoon with the church group, Tara volunteered that we could sing. So we sang. I think our repertoire was 3 or 4 songs, so our dear friends gave us their attention and support that we continually sang our 3 or 4 songs. Singing in church was one of the greatest blessings that came. It was also very challenging, and in many ways. One of the ways I found it challenging was being in the church, in this beautiful environment, in this special focus, and in singing, I would go into bliss, and in bliss I would close my eyes. But then I would remember that I had to play the next chord, and I had to open my eyes and find where on the sheet music I was up to and where was the next chord. So this was a practice I couldn't continue. I had to learn to sing with my eyes open some of the time. I had to learn the discipline of knowing where I was with the song sheet and not just going off into the bliss as I enjoyed. I also had a busy mind, constant busy mind, a mind that was overactive and it often tried to sabotage me. So in the middle of singing in church, my mind would say, "Oh, you're going to have trouble with that bar chord. It's not as good as last time." There would just be constant voices, and I'd have to say, well, with respect, I'm in the middle of singing a song, and I really don't need your help at the moment, thank you. I learnt to work through my fears, through my overactive lower mind. I learned to accept the responsibility of making music in the middle of a church service and in focusing in on the work aspect of the music, not just the bliss. Sometimes the audio was so beautiful and so full. Whatever I was singing, I could hear the music and the voice coming out from high above, and I would wonder where the music was coming from. And at the same time, my lower mind would remind me that if I stopped doing what I was doing, the music would also stop. So I was in unusual places sometimes. I think the biggest thing was getting past fear. To sing with all my being, all my heart, to fully commit to the best I could possibly do in any given moment. I needed to dedicate the song and the music to God. I needed to dedicate it so that I could get my ego out of the way, so that I could just give my all without worrying whether it was good enough. As Beethoven said, it didn't matter about a wrong note, but singing without passion was inexcusable. I travelled extensively with the work. Tara Jody and I travelled many times to Scandinavia, New Zealand, America, around Australia. We did workshops, we did services. And one of the things I shared, we sang a song called Kuake, and it has a Native American feel to it. And there was something in that. There was a real passion and a shared connection to the Native American with Tara Jody. And we sang it in Iceland. And maybe there was 40 people there, and they all went into a large group dance. And there was something so heightened in the energy that time. It was like perhaps one of the first times I learned I was serving the music. It wasn't me. I was just a vehicle for this music, part of the music to come through. Tara Jyoti's lyrics, most of the themes of her songs were very much in dedication to spirit, to the divine, to the great white brotherhood, very much devotional. Tara also had the connection with the Native American spirit, and she wrote some songs about that as well. Tara came home one day. She'd been with our spiritual teacher, Ananda, and Ananda had asked her to make a song out of the ancient lyrics, Om Tare Tu Tare. I wasn't aware of this, but Tara was sitting on one side of the room making up other lyrics to go with the mantra. And I was just sitting on the stairs quietly playing with the guitar, and a tune came. And at the same time, the lyrics and the tune came for the song mantra to Tara and the Buddhas. Another song that came out of my work with Tara Jyoti was Lord Maitreya, Great Spirit. And it was written from hosting a man from representing the Hopi Nation from America. And we spent a week or more as his host, caring for him, going for walks with him in the local forests, helping him get to events. He gave many talks to our group. And grandfather, he would often talk about his tradition, and we would share with him something of ours, of our understanding of spirit and divine. And the song Lord Maitreya, Great Spirit came from that. Tara Jyoti and I put the words together in an attempt to communicate with him how our different ways of looking at spirit actually met, where they met. The Great Spirit and the Lord Maitreya working for the same cause, bringing more light, more love into this world.
Lord Maitreya, Great Spirit, shine your light upon me, Lord Maitreya. Oh, Great Spirit, help us to be our one heart. You are a keeper, you are a savior, you are a redeemer, Father and friend. You give compassion, faith and hope, and you give love without end. Lord Maitreya, Great Spirit, shine your light upon the earth. Lord Maitreya, oh Great Spirit, help us to be our one heart.
It was after more than a week that grandfather came to a church service, and at the end of it he came up to us and he said he knew that the work we were doing was of good. And when we asked how is it that you're so clear now? And he said, well, he saw two butterflies come together behind the main altar, and he knew Spirit had spoken to him. Tara Jyoti's father was getting quite aged and was beginning to spend time in a nursing home. As per our usual practice, Tara Jyoti convinced me to attend with my guitar and her harmonium, and we played in the nursing home. We played for him and we played for everyone else, and it was then I could feel that I could easily spend the entire rest of my life just attending this nursing home and playing music for the people there. I could feel how much need there was in these people for Spirit. It was obviously not possible, but it was a profound experience of how much the music blessed people's lives and supported people's spirit and well-being. In 1999, Tara Jyoti died, and I sang at her funeral. My heart was so wide open. I was uplifted in spirit. There was something looking after me, very much so. And after the funeral, I found, clearing out her things, I found two songs written in her handwriting, two sets of lyrics, Holy Mother and Maitreya, Spirit of the Heart. So I put music to them and began to sing them. They were songs of dedication and devotion. Holy Mother was, use me as you will. And in the Maitreya one, I surrender, I surrender.
Places on the heartfelt way, draw us near to thee. Teach us to walk the way of the heart. Show us the door to thee. Oh, Maitreya, Spirit of the heart. The angels are your servants. They guide us through your door divine. You grace us with your presence. Your heart is so great. Your spirit so pure.
After Tara died, our friends were present again from Denmark, Lawrence and Henia. And Henny pointed out to me that it was very difficult to sing with me. For a while I was able to sing, and my heart was so open, I could just feel Spirit pouring through my heart into the songs. But Henny pointed out to me that I'd lost my timing. I wasn't able to keep rhythm with the other band members. I was so much deep in a process that I would sing as I felt, but I would take pauses when I felt as well, and this didn't serve the band. Lawrence gave us great support. He provided that rhythm and that steadiness, and then I was able to sing in and out with that steadiness, but I couldn't provide that rhythm anymore at that time. Maitreya, Spirit of the Heart. For a while I sang it very freely, very quickly, but then I realized I just needed to slow down more and more. I wanted people to hear the words. I wanted the story in the song to be heard. I needed to sing it almost as if I was speaking it, to bring more and more focus to the words and the dedication within the words. I love singing, and I love, as I'm singing, to share my deepest connection with the meaning of the words as I sing, so that they aren't like a robot could do. They are as a person with a heart and soul could do. So that was my best offering, was to slow down the music and to offer it that way. There was a period then when a friend Dermot asked me would I sing a song with him, The Singing Bird, My Singing Bird. And we did a duet, and then we did other times, at other occasions, and then other friends joined us, Isaac and Graham, and the four of us became the Highlanders. We sang Celtic songs, songs from Ireland and Scotland, and we dressed up fully with homemade or traditional kilts, and we sang with all of our joy. And other times we just dressed head to toe in all green and sang Irish songs. It was so delightful, and we got to do that over a couple of years on different celebrations. We had a lot of fun with it.
Let love be the reason, love, guide the